and in their home. Heritage Hill students, because there's so many here tonight, we know you are at the right place at the right time, and we want each of you to know that we want you to be relevant, be thankful, be inspired, be reflective, be thoughtful, and most of all, we want you to be you. So we look forward to continuing the work we started last year and look forward to the journey ahead. And so right now, please help me introduce our 3rd and 4th grade students for Stand Up, Stand Out.
Good evening. I'm excited to be here with you all. My name is Jacqueline Ard. I'm the music teacher at Heritage Hill. This is my 17th year in the district and my 12th year at Heritage Hill. Love all of these kids so much, and our theme is Stand Up, Stand Out. And you'll see that some of our students are actually going to be holding a fingerprint, and we did an activity with that in class, just that all of our fingerprints are just a little bit different. They're all unique, and they wrote in their fingerprints what makes them unique and what makes them stand up and stand out. So we have a poem for you, and then we have a song, so we hope you enjoy.
And again, thank you for Heritage Hill's inspirational message. And we are so excited to show off what we are going to be this year at Heritage Hill.
No.
Just as everybody leaves, just wanted to one more time, let's give them another round of applause. Heritage Hill Elementary School. Stand up and stand out. I don't know if everybody could see, but right in the very front row, there's a young lady that had a shirt on that said, "Be your own kind of beautiful." And it certainly, you saw a bunch of beautiful kids on stage, but that was amazing. And I love the fact it's so thematic. In fact, Ms. Ard just said that the whole school, that's their theme, and they're going to sing that same song during the walkathon, which is coming up. So thank you very much. Excellent job, Sherry and her team.
Okay, has Ms. Fetters, anyone signed in for visitors? Okay.
No.
Next item is recognition. And we have a resolution.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to call up Ana Martinez up here as well. She's going to be at the podium. I'm going to read the resolution for National Hispanic Heritage Month, which starts in 2 days, September 15th, and runs through October 15th. And Anna does such an amazing job for us as bilingual liaison, is really engaged the community, helped with staff, with students. She's always around doing a wonderful, wonderful job. And what a great growth mindset you have, Anna. Learning and growing. You're doing wonderful. So I'm going to start off. Whereas Hispanic Americans played an integral role in history before the early days of the pioneer to our current legacy of leaders in international trade, technology, education, and aerospace.
Mientras los hispanoamericanos desempeñaron un papel integral en la historia, desde antes de los días del pionero hasta nuestro legado actual de líderes en el comercio internacional, tecnológico, educativo y aeroespacial.
And whereas Hispanic Americans share a rich cultural and linguistic heritage and are a vital part of our economy,
Por lo que los hispanoamericanos comparten una rica herencia cultural y lingüística que son vital para nuestra economía.
and whereas Hispanic Americans have enriched our social, intellectual, and artistic life in the United States of America,
Por lo que los hispanoamericanos han enriquecido nuestra vida social, intelectual y artística en los Estados Unidos de América.
and whereas Hispanic Americans are the youngest and fastest growing segment of the United States of America and are expected to contribute to 62% of our nation's population through 2050.
Por cuanto los hispanoamericanos son el segmento más joven y de más rápido crecimiento en los Estados Unidos de América y se espera que contribuyan con el 62% del crecimiento de la población de la nación hasta el año 2050.
And whereas 34% of our district student population is of Hispanic descent.
Por cuanto el 34% de la población estudiantil de nuestro distrito es de descendencia hispana.
And whereas celebrating National Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th allows us to appreciate and validate the diversity and character of our students, parents, teachers, and staff.
Por lo cual, celebrar el Mes Nacional de la Herencia Hispana del 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre nos permite apreciar y valorar la diversidad y el carácter de nuestros estudiantes, padres, maestros y personal.
Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Princeton City School District Board of Education does hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2022 as National Hispanic Heritage Month in Princeton City School District and encourages teachers, administrative staff, support personnel, and students to participate in activities and promotion of National Hispanic Heritage Month.
Ahora, por lo tanto, sea resuelto. La Junta Directiva Escolar de Princeton, por la presente, proclama del 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre del año 2022 como el Mes Nacional de la Herencia Hispana en las escuelas del Distrito Escolar de Princeton y exhorta a los maestros, personal administrativo, personal de apoyo y estudiantes a participar en actividades que promuevan el Mes Nacional de la Herencia Hispana.
Anna, if you could just stay there just for 1 second. Anna and I, we had a Zoom interview that actually has gotten a lot of attention, tweeted it out and got picked up by a lot of different organizations. It was awesome. You guys could see it on all of our social media platforms, but the biggest thing is what happened after. So somebody else put together snippets of the Zoom, they took some video off the internet and actually put together a beautiful one, all talking about the importance of Hispanic heritage, and we really need to make sure that we value that as we value all the different nationalities and races we have in the district. You want to talk a little bit about October 1st?
Sure. October 1st, we are celebrating the Hispanic Heritage Festival for first time in Princeton City School District. We are very excited for this opportunity, and every time people ask me what is the purpose of this, my answer is bringing the communities together. Bringing all the communities together, getting to know each other, and spend time and get to know each other, and get to know the culture and the differences. And like the message that the Heritage Hill group had today, everyone is unique on their own way, so we need to learn to live around each other and loving each other the way we are.
And we are really excited. It's going to take place outside by the murals, and if it's inclement, it's going to be set up basically like the Festival of the Arts. So it'll be all through here. But we're really uber excited about this, but specifically, Anna, so much of this, I know a lot of people have helped. I know that's what you're going to say. But the reality is this was your idea, and we so appreciate you bringing this idea and many other creative ideas. You've done an excellent job, and we're really excited about this day. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
And next, when I read that, the resolution, it talked about art. And it seems like it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to hear about what we do with art, music. We have the big Blink Parade coming up, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But Kui Win received a nice little check. Kui, come on up here. A nice little check, and she is being recognized tonight specifically for being awarded $250 from the art contest sponsored by the Life Center Oregon Donor Network, and they're using what you designed, right? So what a great, huge honor. We're going to take a picture. Kui, is that okay? We're going to go right up here, Board of Education. We're going to come here and take a nice picture with you. Let's give Kui a big round of applause. And one thing right before you leave, Kui, and I encourage you to leave, I know you have lots going on, but one more thing. We really so believe in the amplification of student voice. We've had a lot of different programs this year alone, specifically around that. In fact, last week, we had our work ethic business advisory team that came together, and we had a student, Mark Lopez, and I am telling you, if we could have videotaped that, it is what you want every single graduate of Princeton to be. He was articulate, well-mannered. The business leaders they were falling all over him. And he talked specifically about leaving Kings Island, where he was making more money, to go to Chick-fil-A. And the businesses were like, well, geez, why would you do that? And he said, you have to understand, it's about culture, and it's about being able to work in an environment that you feel valued. And Kui, I certainly hope that you feel that with the great music and art classes, our academic classes, and I know you're going to take very rigorous classes, or you currently are, but even next year and following, you'll be taking our highest level classes. But Kui is also, on top of everything else she does, she's also our intern in Mrs. Roddy's communication department. We have a couple student interns, and the one we had over the summer, J.D. Lorenzo, actually still doing some work with us. But a lot of the social media artwork that you've seen that's come out of our district office has really been all about J.D. and his creativity and seeing that. So we use several of his art pieces. And Kui, I know we're going to use some of yours too. Is that okay? Thank you very much. One more round for Kui. Thank you. And we are also very fortunate to have a Board of Education that not only values the great work that's done in our district, outside of our district, across the country. They really do a great job. But unbeknownst to any of us, we received this email. So let me read this. On behalf of the officers, trustees, and staff of the Ohio School Boards Association, I would like to commend Jody Kessler on becoming a recipient of the 2022 OSBA Aptitude Award. The Aptitude Award is a distinct award and is part of our STAR Awards program, Service, Training, Aptitude, and Recognition. Congratulations. And to give you a little bit more, the Aptitude Award is presented to a very select group of more than 3,400 board members in Ohio. Only 38 will receive this honor in 2022. OSBA would fully like to recognize the achievement at the regional fall conference, which is coming up. So Board of Education, let's take a picture with one of your Board of Education members. Congratulations, Jody.
Okay, the board has a resolution to approve. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve naming September 15th through October 15th as National Hispanic Heritage Month in the Princeton City School District.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Ms. Better, please call the roll.
Mrs. Cleveland?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Kessler? Mr. Simons.
Yes. And once again, Jody, thank you for getting a 4.0 for the board. We appreciate it.
Congratulations.
For those that don't know, she was valedictorian of her high school, so this is a continuation. Moving on to the consent agenda, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Ms. Better, please call the roll.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Kessler, Mr. Simons,
Yes?
Mrs. Cleveland.
Yes.
Excellent. Moving on to district business, the financial report.
I move to approve the August 2022 financial report.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Ms. Better?
Board of Education, this is part 1 of your August financial report. We'll have the forecast-driven report as well as the reconciliation at the next meeting. We're still plugging away through some of our numbers and balancing. The 2 items that are attached are the ESSER funding report. We are submitting the final expenditure report for the first ESSER 1/CARES grant at the end of this month. We have all but $10,000 expended at this point. And ESSER 2 is nearly spent out also, so we're doing well on that. And then we have the granddaddy of them all, the ESSER 3, that we will plug away over the next year to 2 years. So you have that report for you. And the other report is the credit card report, which you know I'm required for audit purposes to share with you every month. So it just shows the transactions that we use credit card for.
Okay. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Kessler.
Yes.
Mr. Simons.
Yes?
Mrs. Cleveland.
Yes.
Mrs. Moore.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, approval of the order form with College Vine school year, 22-23.
I move to approve the order form for College Vine school year 2022-2023.
Second?
I would just like to
Discussion?
add, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
thank
go
you, thank you. I would just like to add that this program, and I hope this clip right now gets pushed out to all parents, because for years, I've had 3 graduates here. We always have questions at night about college when you have conversations with our kids. Over the weekends, we have questions. And boy, wouldn't it be great to have somebody that was right there that we'd be able to call, send a message to, what have you. This program allows that to happen. You could schedule appointments, meetings, any time of the day and night, by and large, within reason, right? But this is going to allow additional access for our parents and our kids that have questions about going to college. We know that we can, should, and need to do more. We always do. My very first administrative job, the second question that was hit on me 27 years ago was about the college application process. When things seemingly were easier now. Sometimes in some of the programs, the colleges make you go through to apply, Common App, and so forth. It's not real easy. This program will allow greater contact for our parents. It still doesn't mean that, our job's done. We know that we have roughly, anywhere between 30 and 55% of our students that choose to go to a 4-year college. This year we were right around 36%. And those 36% need great services too. And we have to continue to provide programming, as well as opportunities to navigate through, and in many times, the very first time our parents have gone through this, or kids, a very difficult process sometimes. So this program, College Vine, is going to help with that, but there's also other programs that are free that we're just finding out about. They just kind of got kicked out with Common App, and in fact, in the conversation with Mrs. Stiles earlier today, we talked specifically about how School Links, a program that the board has 100% supported, that new program is totally compatible with Common App, which is a new thing which is going to help our kids significantly. So we're looking forward to running out of licenses, because so many parents use this, but there will be a huge social media blast. There'll be an all-call specifically about this program to be able to help our parents navigate, in part from our great counselors, the work that they do, but our counselors are doing a lot of things, not just sitting there. So we'll be talking in subsequent meetings about maybe some other solutions too to help support. But Mrs. Stiles is on it. She's meeting with people. Dr. Fosna, I know, has done a great job with the counselors, talking to them as well. And counselors wildly support this program. It's going to be great. And the nice thing, too, with this program is after there's a conversation, the student's counselor will be notified of that, too. So that will be huge for the communication with our parents and students.
What's the allotted time for each student?
30 minutes, and they could extend it. We have 1,800 licenses right now, which means we have 1,800 sessions, so 900 hours. And it's not it's not just done between now and December 1st, or all the different deadlines, right? So we have a whole bunch of deadlines. Not just there; it's all year long. So even in the summer, if someone has a question, until we run out of that, we're also exploring some free opportunities too for students that seem to be limitless. But I made a phone call today about the Common App. They have a program there, and so I would encourage all parents as well to really stay actively involved in your kid's life. Make sure you do that. Ask questions, and don't just leave it up to them. Get really involved and help, because there's some wonderful programs out there. So we're learning a little bit more about that free opportunity with Common App, and hopefully that's going to be all that it's cracked up to be, because then it'll be free. I say that now. I bet you there's going to be a paid opportunity later from Common App for sure.
Is this all high school, or just juniors and seniors, or what? Is there a
the
grade
licenses
level?
we're targeting 11th and 12th right now, but also it'll go down to 9th grade. But the most immediate need, and this is what we always do, the most immediate need are 11th and 12th graders. The 12th graders for sure are going through, because we think the kids know everything when it comes to the whole college, the different terminology and so forth, but they don't. And so they need a little bit more support.
Thank you.
Jean? Okay. Ms. Prater, could you call the roll?
Mr. Simons?
Yes.
Mrs. Cleveland?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Kessler?
Yes.
Okay, we move into 5A, academic update. Discussion.
Thank you. Very quickly, and the reason why we're going to do what we're going to do right now is because we have a State of the Schools, which I'll be talking about coming up. We have a quality profile that's going to be coming out. The state report card is going to be released in 2 days. So I wanted to get you guys some information. Specifically, we'll go through all of the different stars, but I'm going to focus on 2 of them. I'm going to first, so it's a 5-star rating now. And for the, really nobody liked the letter grades, but essentially you can, 5 stars means the old A. 4 stars means the old B. But obviously the more stars, the better. So we talked before about the early literacy component rating, and shortly thereafter, the board said we're going to make a commitment to offer more support for kindergarten. It's to have free all day, huge commitment. We still would like to see more students. The biggest kind of swing that we saw is how many students were half day that went to full day. Dr. Fosnow, what are we at right now that we're at half day that went to full day? 40, okay. So that was even up from the last time. Remember the first time we reported, we said it was 29, and so 40 kids. We were at 59 initially, and 40 made the switch. So that was huge right there. So that was 2 stars. We kind of reported early on that maybe 1 star, but that was 2. Our graduation rate, the component rating is 2 stars, which is commensurate to where we would have been last year. And again, you know, one story that we say, like, let's take a look at the kids that started in elementary school, in pre-K, and what percentage graduated in last year's class. Not surprisingly, 100%. When you look at the number of kids that came here in middle school, we're about 98%. High school, if they came and if they stayed and they were in the graduating class, again, around 96, 98%. Now you may ask, well then, how come our letter grade isn't higher? How come we don't have more stars? Because if a student steps in Princeton for 1 day, or the entire day, or all year long, or whatever, or all high school year, they are counted as a student in your graduating cohort. So you would say, the public would say, well, so if they transferred to another place, what's the big deal, right? Well, there is no big deal if they transfer another place, because in that district is kind of the district of record. But if somebody leaves and they don't enroll someplace, that student is still ours. If somebody moves and they go out of country and they enroll out of country, and we don't know about it because it's not reported back, or we don't know exactly where they went, that's counted against us. So there's a lot of different examples to give about how that's counted against us. And again, no excuses. It is what it is. We're 89%, right around there. But we have programs in place, and we're trying to work really hard to make sure that we, you know, get 100%. That's the grade. Now we're almost at 100% of kids. If you stay at Princeton, you're going to graduate. Those that started in pre-K, that went all the way through, you see that many of those, and when you hear top 20 programs, you hear kids talk about, oh, I started in pre-K, I started in kindergarten, I've been a lifelong Princeton student, and they're all going to great colleges and doing wonderful things. So the message to the community is, get your kids enrolled early and trust us. Your kids are going to get in a pathway that they are strong in and interested in, and they're going to be very, very successful. When we look at the achievement rating, as I mentioned before, it's kind of the same thing with graduation when kids coming and going. Those kids, if we have a student that comes in 2 days before the state mandated testing, and they come in and they do not perform at a high level or at proficient level, that's counted against us. Now, it doesn't make much sense, and I've testified at the state about this. I've talked to, most recently last week, talked to Senator Bill Blessing specifically about this, and I know they're constantly working on it, but it doesn't make much sense to me. And if we have a 14% transient rate, and that means 14% of the kids that come in, they better be prepared, or else they're not going to perform, and that's going to hurt us. So since we have that data and we know that's true, that's why when kids transition, we try to get them where they're appropriately placed right away. We give assessments. We're, you know, trying to get them exactly where they need to be and give them what they need as quickly as possible. Sometimes, and you heard this story last year, just specifically with graduation, we had somebody that came in 2 days before the end of the school year, didn't graduate. They came in at 1 credit, I think, and they were in the graduation cohort. There's nothing you could do. So some of the systems, I think, are still archaic, and spending much time on talking about it, you know, we have to talk about these things. But the 2 most important measures of a district's worth and success are the progress component rating, and we got 5 out of 5 on that, as well as a gap closing value added 5 out of 5. And so to give you some additional information on that, just quickly, the gap closing measures the reduction in educational gaps for student subgroups. So that is really, really important. And we have 5 out of 5 on that. When you look at the progress, that's determined by a 2-step process using growth index and effect size. So there is a wonderful PowerPoint presentation that we're going to send out to you guys at the end of this meeting, and it has all kinds of details that we will go over at the next regularly scheduled board meeting. We'll go over that in detail. And Tanya Westwright, Dr. Mary Phillips, Medora Hill, and Libby Stiles will be leading that charge, talking about the different schools and all that. But you will be very, very pleased to know that when you look at what we've done to close some of the gaps, again, we've done an excellent job. When you look at the progress, so if a student comes in, I think it was about a week ago, we received a new family, and it was a 4th grader, a 2nd grader, and maybe a 9th grader. And the 4th grader, I mean, delightful young man, can't read. Can't read. There's not a chance that they're going to pass. We know that right now. But it doesn't stop us from providing all kinds of great services. So that child whose Lexile score is really, really low, we're going to see exponential growth for that child. Now, I bet you next year he passes. But the reality is that's progress. So you look at where they were and where they are when the test comes. And so I'm very proud of the staff, teachers, the staff, administrators for the great work they did. The people out here all take great part in that process. What you guys have done, supporting programs, that's one of the reasons why that we've seen the growth. And next year, we're going to see more growth. We will. That's the expectation, and people are working overtime to make it happen. So this is very much about what you guys have supported and what you've done as a Board of Education, as it is what's going on administratively. Now, the teachers are the real heroes, instructional aides, the paras, they are the ones day in, day out that are grinding. The principals, instructional coaches have a major role. Central office does as well. But when you think about the work day in and day out of the teachers, boy, it's amazing.
Just for clarity, I want to make sure I understand the 2 components that stand out to you for the state report card where we're doing exceptionally well would be number 1, the progress component where we have 5 out of 5 with growth and effect size. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And the second one is gap. Can you tell me?
Gap closing.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so you look at subgroups, student subgroups. So we have a variety of subgroups, which could be a race, it could be socioeconomically disadvantaged or economically disadvantaged in those subgroups. Then we don't want huge gaps in between those. So if you look at performance of Hispanic population and white, right, we don't want a large gap between that. African American, economically disadvantaged, we don't want that. So we close the gaps. And if you remember, Springdale Elementary School got the highest award in the country for the great work they did with gap closing.
And then it may be too premature to talk about this, but before parents hear this good news, the grading guide for what?
Well, they're no longer
No longer
grades.
doing grades. What's
Right,
the
just
number
stars.
we got on that?
Just stars.
How many stars did you get?
Well, the individual ones, 2 stars for achievement, 2 for graduation rate, 5 progress component rating, 2 for early literacy, and 5 for gap closing.
So they don't do overall star ratings. Okay. Thank you.
And like I said, this presentation will be shared with you, and there's going to be some movement in the presentation, I'm sure, but this is just for your early edification. But the new presentation, if there's going to be any modifications, you'll get that as well. But we'll go over this at the next regularly televised meeting because there's some great information there. And I'll talk a little bit more about this in my superintendent's report.
I love hearing the silver lining and the places where we're doing well, and I think it would be good, depending on how you all want to roll it out. If parents and citizens could hear our angle before they read the newspaper angle, because you see things and you brought out things to us that the average person wouldn't see unless they dug deep into the document. So
Yeah,
I hope we share what you just shared publicly. Thank you.
Yeah, well, if you remember, the quality profile does just that. And we've been doing that for years. So that's going to go out that has all the information in it. It will have a lot of the information in it, but we're much bigger than a one-day test.
Oh,
And when you look at all the great, we recognize a beautiful young lady tonight, and that was something she took upon herself to do. And that's what when you talk about empowerment, that's what it is that we do. We want to empower people to be able to follow their dreams.
I think what I'm trying to say, and I'm not quite saying it the way I should, is the average citizen who doesn't understand our quality report that we put out, they're just reading the newspaper and they're seeing the state report. And before the quality report comes out, I'd be, interested to let them see wonderful silver linings that you brought out to us today. But, however it works, it works.
On the early literacy, will the full day kindergarten impact?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're in school twice as much. That was a great move. There's a lot of other, look, we don't have full classes everywhere. We don't have them. If you look at our enrollment, we should be about 500 in kindergarten. We're not there. And we've blasted stuff. We've done all kinds of stuff, put it out there. We've put stuff in multiple languages. We need to have every single student that can be in school as early as possible. And so that was great. Like we did anticipate early on that more people were going to get involved, and looking at the birth rates and all that stuff, we don't know how many students are out there, but we know there's students out there, and they need to be in school. One thing also, in the report card, once it gets fully released, there's some new information out there, because we talk a lot about, we believe in school choice. School choice is fine, but we just believe the best choice is Princeton. So that data is out there, so you'll see how many people actually are going, utilizing the Cleveland Voucher Program, utilizing John Peterson, going to a parochial school or a charter school. You'll see all that information. And it's not what probably any of us initially would have thought. There's not as many as you thought, just in general. And that says a lot about Princeton.
The graduation and achievement, if you look at schools in our general area, the student bodies that scored higher, is there a difference in the socioeconomic class in general?
I was talking to a couple of people today specifically about the similar districts. So when you look at that, but what's interesting is some of the similar districts, if you know them, some of them are around when I moved down here, so I know them very, very well. They are not like Princeton. Nope, not at all. But they look at the amount of money. They look at the economic disadvantage. There's weighting on all of that, and they also look at the diversity. But some of them don't have much diversity at all, and some of them economically are in a different sphere as us, because they look at per capita. So that's one of the indicators. So when you look at that from a community perspective, we have a couple pockets that are that skew that data significantly, and a couple pockets that skew the data the other way significantly. So I know that's why they call it an average, but the reality is we have there's very few districts like us, but the ones that we feel are like us, and we did this a couple years ago, right, Dr. Phillips? Didn't we do this a couple years ago when you looked at districts that we felt were similar to us, and there's literally no comparison. And when you look at about 90% graduation rate We had, again, 31 kids. 31 kids were here just for, I mean, some cases a day, some cases a couple weeks. And that 31 out of the total number, that's like 8%. So you'd say, we'll be smart, that doesn't count against Princeton, and you're talking, shoot, 97%. I mean, that's amazing. And the students that did not make it across the finish line initially, many of them have graduated after, and that will be reflective on our 5-year graduation rate. So again, a lot of details at the very next meeting. We'll go through all that. We will have already had our State of the Schools, I believe, before that meeting. Is that accurate? The day after. So it'll be the Board of Education, and then we'll do the State of the Schools. So you'll get all the information, and we'll talk about some of that. But again, I'll talk about that at my report. Thank you.
Thank you for the update. I believe that in partnership with you, the board, my colleagues, putting together that full-day kindergarten package, we've already started addressing some of the shortcomings in the district. So I think we should be very proud of our work as a team.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and listen, board, this wouldn't have happened without your support. So obviously, like, kudos, there's no question. Work with me, yeah, but it's the people out here, and it's people in the buildings, and that are throughout the district. They are the ones that are actually going to make it happen, that work, that are boots on the ground. They're working again. Crazy. There had to be schedule adjustments, room moves. There had to be all kinds of things that happened. I know that Tanya Westwright dealt with some big conversations with some parents as well as other people, Dora Hill and others, the principals. So it was a great move by the Board of Education. The success will be because of the wonderful people out here and in the buildings.
Okay. 5B, cell phone coverage.
Yeah, just the next board meeting, there'll be, and I would like, if it's okay, to do the work session so we could get this moving. But there's some areas, believe it or not, well, I think many of you, if you drive through the district, you know you may be on a phone call, and next thing you know, you're no longer on a phone call because there's an interruption in the service. There's a couple different areas we need to get coverage for. There's a specific plan, and kudos to Chris Lockhart, who got some very quick information for us, and we really need to make a move. It's about $150,000 between the two locations, but it's critical that we do it. So thank you, Chris, for getting that done. And if it's okay, at the next work session, we would like to do it so that we can get the coverage to the areas as fast as can.
And this money dovetails with our security posture, is that correct? Meaning that if you have coverage and you're in a...
Yeah, well, we need to do this in part because of security.
Right.
Yep.
Thank you for the report. Item 6A, the treasurer's report. Ms. Fetter?
Board of Education, we have you registered for your OSBA Capital Conference. The hotel lottery will be on 9/21. We'll see how that goes for us. We've been down a couple of years, so we're due to have a good hotel assignment. We'll see. Southwest Regional Fall Conference. I have Mary and Gina asked to be registered for that. I need to know if anyone else wishes to attend, and we'll put that in. I do know, I think it conflicts with the Blink Parade, so the rest of you could let me know, and we'll get that registration handled. Audit season is beginning already. We start off with our work with Plattenberg to do the financial statements and gap reporting, and we are collecting data and sending them out to them. They will be on site to get the final data and preparation on September 26th. That report is typically in place before the actual auditors start doing their work, since it is one document they also audit. And then next meeting, I will have the final fiscal year 23 appropriation resolution and certificate of estimated resources. And that's required to be approved before the end of the month by the auditors, Hamilton County Commissioners. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions? Moving on to superintendent's report.
Thank you, Ms. Simons. I made mention earlier about the great work that happens with the people here and throughout the district. What a great start of the year. And I want to tell you why I feel it was a great start of the year. Because we were perfectly imperfect. We try like the Dickens all the time with transportation to have no issues, scheduling have no issues, everything works perfectly. But we know, quickest way to fail is trying to be perfect. And we work really, really hard to minimize errors, and if there are errors, try to resolve them as fast as we can. We have asked our parents to fill out final forms. I'm going to say 100 times. And so when there was all kinds of transportation issues and all that stuff, the vast majority of those were because parents didn't do their job. And harsh, or not harsh, but that's a reality. I said the same thing, I think the last time I was on stage, about parents being parents. We need to stand up. And unfortunately, there are many times during the week where I feel like the only one that truly cares about the child's education and growing and learning are the people they see in the classroom, are the people they see in the hallway, on the buses, the principals, assistant principals, grade level principals, instructional. Those are the people that I see time and time again that aren't giving up on kids, that are making sure that the parents are doing what they should be doing. And again, I know harsh. There's some parents, I know the last time I said something, I got a few phone calls. Please call me, but instead of calling me to tell me I was wrong saying this, spend the time with your kids. Ask questions, fill out the forms, get them enrolled in kindergarten, do those things. That's what you need to do as parents. It is not easy being parents. I understand that. But you have a job to do. And if it wasn't for people like that, like the Board of Education, that say, we're going to provide more opportunities for your kids, like the people out here in the audience, Chris Petter and her team, to make sure that we're doing the right thing, spending the money the right way, and our students, our beautiful students, our staff, administration, I would be scared that the kids wouldn't even come to school. So our start of the year was perfectly imperfect, and we had some glitches, but parents, make it about us messing up. Don't make it about the fact that you didn't fill out your forms, you didn't get in the right bus stop, and you're calling blaming us. So kudos to everybody, the Board of Education, for supporting some crazy ideas to get things going, but we had a great start of the school year, not perfect, but a great one nevertheless. The Lincoln Heights Parade, which we love participating in, was scheduled for a beautiful day. It was not supposed to rain. It was supposed to be 78 degrees and sunny with a little bit of clouds just when you start getting hot. But that did not happen over Labor Day weekend, so it got moved to this Saturday, which we're doing our best to be as supportive as we always have. We love our beautiful community of Lincoln Heights. But the band, they have all these activities all the time. If we don't get it on the calendar early, it's not going to happen. But we're going to try to get as many people there as possible to support the great village of Lincoln Heights. So that'll be this Saturday, so if you could go. We'll have the boat, our Viking ship, I should say, there. We'll have all that this Saturday, so the same lineup time and all that stuff as before, so if the board could be there, that would be great. We made mention about the quality profile. That quality profile will go out to all residents, and it'll tell our story. And Tricia Rye does a great job putting that together. We really are very deliberate in doing that. So it would seem easy. Tell your story, push it out. The amount of iterations that we will go through to make sure that we're trying to think of maybe an 85-year-old young lady, young man that's never been in school that's getting this thing called a quality profile. What does it actually mean, to Gina's point, right? So when you look at that, so we spent a lot of time doing that. That will be coming out. I would say within the next month or so. The state of the schools, you heard earlier, it's going to be the day after our October 10th board meeting, so October 11th. It's going to be 5:30 in here, and it's right before concert. So hopefully people will come here, stay for the concert. It'll be great. I'd like to see the whole thing filled up. I think we have some great news to talk about, and we need to confront some issues, and we're going to do just that. I've done videos, I've stood on the stage, and we've confronted some things. We're not afraid to do that. But it doesn't mean we're not doing a great job. So I know the Board of Education, when they hear 5 stars out of 5 stars, feel great. We still have work to do. But I just want to give an opportunity right now for the board if you wanted to say anything about those 2 unbelievable scores. First time that I've been here. Ms. Kess, Gina? Yeah, it was great work.
Everybody hears about it. Thank you for your hard work. I mean, if we've never done that before, and this is a first, I think that's kudos to you and your staff.
It's obvious to me that progress and gap closing will directly impact achievement and graduation. Well, at least achievement. Graduation depends
Well,
on.
actually, I would say graduation. It would more impact graduation than achievement because, again, you could be at 20%. You just come to Princeton from another district,
Right.
or just come to us, and their achievement those kids may not get to achieve, but it will see growth. That we tell everybody. You will see the growth. Send your kids to Princeton. Do what you should do at home, and that will affect achievement.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I would add, I agree with my colleagues here. We do a really good job. I just want us to continue to push that information out. The more we can get it out there, sometimes it requires you to say it 50 times before someone listens.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we just have to keep staying on target with getting the message out there. That would be my only thing. Other than that, I say, again, kudos to the staff that we have here. And all the things that we've accomplished. We know it hasn't been easy. There's been a lot of things that don't always go our way, but we overcome those things. And so, I have to say kudos, for the hard work that's been put in. But again, let's just keep pushing that information out there so people understand what we are doing here at Princeton.
Absolutely. Discuss that.
Yeah, I would just like to thank all the teachers. I know last year was one of the hardest years in education, so that is a really great accomplishment to get those stars on one of the hardest years ever.
Yeah, very, very proud of the staff, teachers, people in front of me, the team. It's awesome. Wanted again, just one more plug. October 1st, don't forget, you will not want to miss our very first Hispanic Heritage Festival. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And give you guys some opportunity to learn some music. You can perform if you'd like, no problem. And if we still have some performance spots left, a couple of them, yeah, no problem. If you guys want to, we'll figure that out. The Blink Parade is the conflict that Chris had made mention for the Southwest OSBA, which is too bad because that's the night that Ms. Kessler will get that nice Aptitude Award. But I don't know what the surprise is. Legit, I don't know what the surprise is or what's going to happen, but we are part of a closing that is going to be unbelievable for the Blink Parade. Like, we were chosen specially for that. Mrs. Roddy, do you have any idea what that is? So, Ms. Roddy said we're the only ones that have been in each Blink Parade, and we're a special invitation to do something in the finale. So I don't know what it is. I'm so excited. Sorry I won't be at the Southwest OSBA, but I will be very excited to be part of that. Hey, and just one other thing, just a reminder, Board of Education members, if you ever need help with any social media and that, because we push so much stuff out, we can actually create Instagram and Twitter accounts for you guys. You guys don't have to follow anybody but us. And you could see that. You never have to tweet. You never have to do that. But going out there, you'll see some additional information that's really good. Now, we try to hit every single platform all the time. So you'll see on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything today, YouTube, so much of the information with the Stand Up and Stand Out, the great program that we did. So you'll see that a lot of different places. But if you ever need help with that, we'd be glad to help you get that set up. And in fact, if you just want to say right now, if you want something, we get it going and get you all hooked up by tomorrow. So just let us know, and we'll be glad to do that. That concludes my report.
I look forward to reading about the 5 out of 5 stars on progress, component, and gap in that quality profile. And I was wondering, in the quality profile, is that something where you could also talk about communication tools in terms of the parents completing the, what do you call it, final form?
Final forms.
Yeah, because I'm curious as to what communication approaches you might be willing to try to get people to do what you need done in terms of that. A contest, win a prize, I don't know, generally sounds fine. If you fill out your final form. I mean, some incentive, there shouldn't be an incentive, but I'm just saying, it sounds like these final forms, it's a really important thing for parents to do. I wonder if we might find some welcome for them. What's in it for me? Fill this out. I mean, it's basically you're doing what you're supposed to do, but, I'm just curious what other maybe there's other communication approaches that could be taken to fill out those forms.
Yeah, that will not be in the quality profile. Because because it's negative, right? We need to fill out more.
Oh, no, I wasn't saying say negative.
But,
I was gonna say,
hey, thank you for the 68% of you that
final form.
decided to do your role as a parent and fill out a form to make sure everything's all set up. I'm not going to say that. But in terms of that, I mean, we have all the time. That's what I'm saying. I think that if you guys aren't on Twitter, Instagram, I think some of that stuff, we've also done all calls, tons of all calls. We've done sent letters out or whatever. But, we always try to do things, if we're not hitting everybody, we try anything to help.
I'll just add to that. I mean, I think you've done a great job getting that word out. We started last spring getting people to sign up for this year for final forms. And, I know as a mom in the district, I've heard it on every platform, phone call, email, it's on signs, it's everywhere. Honestly, I can't believe there's still forms that haven't been filled out.
I would agree, but I'm still going to say, keep pushing it out there.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes it just takes that many times before it clicks. So again, not to mention word of mouth helps a lot. So peer to peer, sometimes they'll be talking in their neighborhood, and someone says, "Did you do this? Oh, this is how we got the information," or what have you. So again, just keep
I'm sure you guys
talking
remember that we've had nights where we've had parents come in here. In fact, Dr. Fosna, wasn't the whole cafeteria filled? When you did that, we had bilingual support. We had, so much stuff. That's why I think that, looking and we'll push some other stuff out, like the quality profile. We'll put together, Ms. Roddy, if you could put the last 3 quality profiles and just send it to me, and then I'll send it to the Board of Education. Just a reminder to see what we put out and how we do that.
Hey, I wasn't saying you guys weren't putting it out, but I'm just saying.
Oh, no. I know. I just want you to see.
Believe it or not, need some incentive. How about breakfast with the superintendent? And in order to be chosen to have breakfast with the superintendent, you must have filled out their final form.
You know what, that would be, it would be great, because if they actually would show up to breakfast for me, then they should have done the final forms in the first place. That's actually a disincentive. I'll say, you have to have breakfast with me if you don't fill it out. Then we'll get to 100%.
The penalty is.
I just want to
No, I don't think it's a lack of the school putting out the information.
Yeah,
I would
that's
agree that I see a lot of information myself, so I know it's coming and coming and coming. So I don't know. I don't say that people haven't seen it. They just haven't acted on it, and that's the key. Is when will they act on it?
I just want to remind everyone, gently remind everyone, that a lot of the caregivers in our district are not the biological parents, they are the grandparents and foster parents, and may not be up to date on technology.
That's why you gotta use different tools.
That's why we, phone
I'm
calls,
just mentioning that.
snail mail, everything. I could probably,
Everything, yeah.
10 minutes or everything
Keep doing
we've
it.
done. We've done that. Actually, we did skywriting the other day, which is a really unique program. That worked out well.
Not yet. Unless it's anything, so thank you for your report.
Thank you, sir.
We will not go into executive session this evening. So with that, we are at item number 8, adjournment. Need a motion.
I moved to adjourn the board meeting.
A second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Ms. Fetter, please call the roll.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Kessler, Mr. Simons,
Yes,
Mrs. Cleveland.
Yes.
meeting is adjourned.